Hello, you are warmly welcome to my channel. Today happens to be the first episode, and so I'll plead with you to pardon me if it happens to be a bit too long. Along the line, we'll fine tune everything and make sure it falls within a stipulated time. Anyways, my name is Edem Kujo. You can just call me Edem. And what I'll be doing on this platform is that every day I give you a recap of interesting events that have happened in the country over the past 24 hours. So the goal here is to just educate you. I've not given it a name yet. You can just drop a name for me, suggest something to me, and I look forward to having a daily ride with you. Anyways, yesterday in the evening, parts of Accra, parts of Ghana experienced something that happens rarely. What happened was that there were some movements in the earth, and people have been trying to find out what exactly happened. Well, according to a seismologist with the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, what actually happened yesterday was an earthquake. The good news is that it was a small earthquake because it fell below the range. There's a range that's measured on what they call the Richter scale. So if it's between 0 to 4, it's a small earthquake. 4 to 6 is a mild earthquake, and anything greater than 6 is actually a dangerous earthquake, so to put it. And so we had an earthquake of 4.2 at its maximum, and that 4.2 even happened in particular areas, but most areas experienced between 2.9 to 3.6, which is a small earthquake. Well, Ghana hardly gets earthquake, but there's a history of earthquakes in Ghana. As early as 15th, 16th century, there were earthquakes. But the biggest earthquake that happened in Ghana happened in 1939. In fact, 17 people died, 150 people got injured. And in the past, there have been little tremors. But what we are being told is that Ghana is likely to have an earthquake. And so I would admonish that we read and we find out how best we can protect ourselves if such a situation does occur. Now, away from the earthquake, today was a big day for Ghana in terms of our democracy. And this has to do with the upcoming voters registration that the Electoral Commission, the EC, wants to carry. So a new CI was laid before Parliament, and the new CI, the EC is saying that the current register they have is not valid because of some infractions of the old voters ID. And so if you want to register, you have to register with either a passport or your Ghana card, or you get somebody or a guarantor who has any of this who has registered. You cannot use your old voters card to register. And so the opposition, National Democratic Congress, took this to court, challenging the EC, asking that the Supreme Court nullifies this action of not wanting to accept the previous voters ID. So what happened in court is that today, after the court proceedings ended, the General Secretary, Johnson Asiri Nketia, popularly known as General Mosquito, granted an interview and said that the Supreme Court ruled in their favor and the Supreme Court has justified them. Lawyers for the EC were saying otherwise, and so earlier in the day everyone was confused, but then we were told to wait for the official ruling from the Supreme Court. And so when the ruling came out, what happened was that yes, indeed, some of the reliefs sought for by the NDC were granted, but the main relief being that they wanted the old voters ID card accepted was actually dismissed by the Supreme Court. One interesting thing that I found out whilst reading the ruling was that in an old case where one Abu Ramadan took the EC to court, that the voters register was bloated and so for that matter, people with NHIS ought to be removed because it wasn't enough proof to show that you are a Ghanaian. Back then, the Supreme Court ruled that indeed he was right and asked the EC to take out all that. And so the NDC, in its case, also argued that if that was done, then if the EC is saying that there should probably be a cleaning instead of a new registration. And so the Supreme Court was saying that the fact that they asked for a cleaning in the past doesn't mean that if there's a more prudent way of making sure that the register becomes credible, it shouldn't be done. So basically what they are saying is that yes, cleaning of the register is possible, but if registering a new one is what will make it most credible, they don't necessarily have a problem with it. And so from the 30th of June, if you want to vote in the upcoming elections slated for the 7th of December, go to the nearest polling station around you and then get registered, because the new voters register is coming up. Now finally, on news items, there's been a number of appointments by various public universities, and today was a historic moment for the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Today, the University Council approved and appointed their first female Vice Chancellor in the person of Professor Mrs. Rita Akosua-Dickson. This, however, wouldn't be the first time that a woman will be appointed VC in Ghana, as Honorable Jainana Opoku-Agyeman, a former Minister of Education, was once the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast. Professor Dickson, however, is the first female Vice Chancellor of Kenya University. Now, in another good news for gender advocates, the University of Professional Studies and Administration, UPSA, today also appointed its first ever female registrar in the person of Dr. Inim Wright. And so Kenya University have given us a first female VC, UPSA have given us a first female registrar. We look forward to more good news, at least to inspire our females to strive hard to the highest pinnacle. Finally, before I leave, COVID is still around. As at the last time I checked before I did this video, our case count stood at 15,473, with 11,431 people being recovered or discharged per the new WHO standards, and 95 deaths. Unfortunately, we have about 3,000 active cases. And so when you go out, please try and put on the face masks, because COVID is real. A lot of asymptomatic people are walking around with it, and so you don't know who you are talking to and who might infect you. I'm here alone, and that's why I am not wearing a face mask. But if I am going out, this is basically what I'm going to do. Get my face mask up here, put it here, and just shape it nicely. Cover my face. As I'm talking, you can hear me. So stay safe, and see you next time. Bye.